Hello viewers, welcome to CodeForAny. If you hear new, hit subscribe buttons and notification bell so you can never miss any our incredible content. SwiftUI taxi app inside today we need to call this here the supports user list API and then after need to support message supports connects API we need to call this here to API we need to try to call here. First of all we need to create here the models for the user models we need to develop for supports and method modules need to support need to create for the chats UI need this here. First of all need to write down here new files and we need to create here Swift UI files and we need to give this here the names support user model like this create here and now need to copy these models and we need to paste this here replace with this here remove here like this we need to configure here and first of all we need to give this here the id as we need to pass this here the id remove this here the objectables no needs this objectables need to remove here and first of all need to pass this here the id as a user id and then after need to set this here the name property another property declares here then after need to set this here image property then after message and also need this here the base counts created dates created date and we need to convert as a date like this is. Now need to pass here view object dot remove these flags here and to pass this here one by one all value we need to configure this here names as a past here the name property and also one more property base count is equal int set here 0 copy here paste this here now need to give this here base count and to write down here the parameters names base counts we need to give this here like this sets here now need to pass new object and copy against this value paste this here two times and now need to set this here the message here's message then after image as a image like this and now created dates is equal to need to give this here view object value for key and we need to pass this here created date as we need to give this here optional string double quotes brackets here and to convert into the date. To check here extension method available so or not so need to check this here go inside the UI extensions not available so need to create here the first of all the extensions class need to call this here extensions and we need to give this here string extension class and we need to write down here the one functions get here where date is equal to return here date like this and need to check this here. Let format options like this. df is equal to date formatters like this, and we need to give this here the date format. df dot date format is equal to, need to write down here y mmm dd oblique capital T, and we need to write down here hhh colon z. Like this formats need to give this here. Maybe mistake here dot one. Like this we need to convert into this formats, and we need to convert this data here, and then afterwards we need to return this here. Let date is equal to, for df dot date prompts need to give this here the self, and now need to returns. Like this. If you not give this optionals, then to create like this here currently. Like this we need to return years. Like this we need to convert inside this common. Now need to go inside our models and to call these functions inside these models, get this here the dates, and to write down like this, and also need to call this here the equators, and need to copy this support models. Like this create here the models, and need to apply this here. This is the models here. And one more thing, so need to create here the another models need to develop here. Message models need to create here new files, SwiftUI, to give this here message model. Create here like this message models. Now need to copy these structures, need to copy here, and need to paste this here like this. Copy here and paste this here, and also need to remove this here preview class, no needs, and need to apply this here like. First of all, need to give this here the ID as a message ID. We need to put this here, and then after we need to configure here another things. We need to configure. First of all, need to write down here. Need to check here the data. First of all, need to give this here the chat ID. This is ID for chat ID. Then after need to give this here the sender ID, receiver ID, like this. Create here another two fields, and ID, and another receiver ID, like this. And then after need to needs here the message and created dates. No need base counts, need to remove here. And one more things, message type. Now not needs, but need to, if you add here file types, then to need this here these types, but you need to not declare here. This is good. Now need to parse. First of all, set here the sender ID, and also need to copy here and to paste this here, and two lines remove here, and to give this here receiver ID. First of all, need to pass this here the sender ID here. Then after receiver ID, need to paste this here like this, creating here the models. And now need to create here the view models need to develop this here. User support view models, user create here support user support models need to create here, create new files, and need to write down here support view model like this create here. Now we need to create here the class and to give this here the observable object and remove here other things like this. Clear this here. Now we need to declare this here. First of all, we need to set here the static where share and we need to give this here this object support initialize this here. Share object like this create here. Now need to create here the publisher property. Need to declare is equal to where and we need to give this here the value as a give this here user list user array and to give this here the type support user models is equal to blank array. Then after publishers where message array is equal to set this here the message models like this sets here. And one more thing, so need to create here the error displaying here need to needs another two property. You need to copy this here the show errors here published published like this. Now need to create here the API calling, so need to create here first of all, so need to go this here the logins need to copy here API support models need to paste this here API callings support user API. Now need to declare here the API calling copy here. First of all, so need to get this here first methods need to get this here the support user list and to give this here API name. Then after we need to set this here support connect means the previous message need to get this API support connect and another API support message like this set here support message. And then after like this API we need to need all one more API need to clear chats API for these specific users support clears set clear like this give this here the names import the class. And then after we need to calling this here now need to go support view models and inside we need to write down here sv support user list and also need to is tokenize need to set here true like these conditions. If you not gets any errors need to see sorry here's and one more things variables need to declare here where support vm is equal to support socket view model dot share need to get this here the objects and we need to call this initialize object init init methods Now need to get this here the response. We need to get this here's where, and we need to maps with these objects and to return this here for each. Need to write down here where user list URL is equal to, need to pass this here these models here, like we need to set this here. Now need to get here the response object dot value for key, and to give this here the name key for payload, as need to give this here optionals ns array like this. Now need to call this here map functions, need to transforms, call this here elements object. Now we need to check this here if, and we need to get this here map objects returns years past years, and as dictionary is good. Like this we need to create here converts. Now need to call this here the support user models, and to pass this here object returns this years, and now need to call this years self dot support user array is equal to, like this past years for this message. Like this we need to convert, and then after we need to call this here another methods we need to call copy here paste this here user message API, and to call this here sv support connect user connect. Set here message models, we need to give this here, and we need to get here two types objects payload, the object means payload, need to call this here this functions here set here, and to give this here the payloads as need to set optionals and as dictionary, like this. And one more thing we need to write down here, the object is equal to, need to give this here the value, as we need to pass here the message like this, return this object. Now need to convert array like this, set here the message array like this, we need to convert here, and to set this here state for this API. Now another API need to call this here for the sending the message, and to write down here send message API, and to give this here parameter copy here like this, and call this here these functions copy here paste this here, need to change this here the API names sv message support message chat, and we need to get this here the response, need to get here the objects, need to push this object inside this array, returns here successfully sent, and to open this element inside this array message models, and to pass this here. One more thing, so we need to change this here the titles, maybe wrong variable names m object this is save, Now need to go inside supports and need to call this here m object. Append this here these elements after sendings, and one more thing property we need to declare this here at the publish, where txt message is equal to blank. Now copy here self dot to write down here message into calling this here and apply this data here. Like this we need to call here. And one more things, we need to configure here the data for this selected objects publishers, where select support user, select users is equal to support models, user models is equal to create here the new support models. And we need to passing this data and the publishers here. And another flags publish where show message that here false. Set here the false. Now we need to write down here one methods need to call this here the common methods, write down here functions, select users and to write down here object is equal to support message model, and we need to no need these functions. Without functions we need to directly pass this here the value is good, like this configures. And also need to configure here the socket IO to connections, need to give this here, need to calling here vm dot socket share socket on methods, need to write down here event handlers on events, need to give this here event names, callbacks, data and ACK, like this past years. Now need to receive any new message, we need to configure this here emit methods receive, like this need to configures. And also need to check this here and what is. If you any receive here the message, now print this data. First of all need to print, as need to write down here the response. Get here, write down here the percentage at the rate, and we need to print this here the data, like this. Now we need to check this here the data count, we need to check more than 0, and to calling this here like this. Now we need to check if let if response object is equal to object data index of 0 as explanatory signs as dictionary and as dictionary optional value. Need to set here if conditions is save for crash. I just need to write down here conditions, and now need to check this here the status where response object value for key. Check this here key dot status, as we need to give this here the string optional string equal to 1 like this, and successfully need to get this here this data here. Now we need to get here the successfully this informations and this data, and also need to get this here status if let. Now only configures for the message. Then after need to tomorrow need to call this here the user support message list need to updates, but now need to only the user message real time codings need to apply here only. Then I need to get this here payloads, and we need to check this here the message titles need to check this here where payload the object is equal to response object dot value for key, and give this here payload options and this dictionary like this here, and we need to check this here if the object count more than 0, then where it go m object is equal to message models m into this here p object 0 like this past hits not hits. Then convertings we need this here need to check here if maybe we need to convert here the optionals is good to set this here plus this here did set events need to call if selected object what message not equal to nil, then to call this here the service call, we call this here. Need this here two API calls, give this here the user ID for connected is selected check the value for first here the ID, and then afterwards we need to configure here error brackets, and to give this here the socket ID past years. Then afterwards we need to call this here svm dot socket dot sid like this. We need to calling this here calling this API. like this call here, and we need to else parts message here like this also this here. Like this data we need to configure, and we need to write down here show message parameters we need to do here like this. Now we need to check this here if let this object sender object select user is equal to self dot support user select, then to check this here else parts select dot id equal to message object dot select senders, both are same. Then to add this array message array append insert at object like this. To append this object not insert object like this. We need to set here these conditions. All these here it is configures here calling this here like these functions. And now need to integrate here first of all the user list need to configure, so need to declare this here. This is message. Now here's the date state object is equal to this here svm is equal to support view model dot share to call this here like this, and also need to go inside the OTP text fields, not text fields, login view OTP screen, need these alerts, copy here. Now need to go inside the support, need to paste this here. And one more things, open this screens, we need to calling this here the API svm dot API calling what user, maybe need to check this here, and to no need this here parameters need to remove here, need this only here. Also need to copy these lines here, and we need to remove here Send message. Set this here. Message. And we need to pass this here. Change these parameters names. Sender ID. And message as passed here. txt message. Like this calling here. This API. No, like this call. Fix this issue here, and we need to set these types. Also need to set here the message called the SVM error message support user API. Need to call this here. Like this. Clear this here appearance. No needs. These lines. Now need to give this here the array 0 to set here SVM dot user array, and to give this here counts. Now need to write down here the let your object is equal to pass this here sv user array index of value, to give this here index. Copy paste this here and to get this here response. Give this here count. Now not change any here, so need to later convert inside this image, but we need to complete this here this object. Give this here the usernames. Need to get here name, and we need to convert into the specific format, so need to create here the extensions. Now need to go inside the UI extensions to write down here extensions date, and call this where string as written here string. This we need to copy date format and to display like this, display only date and time, small am pm. Copy here. Now need to return here. Now need to check this here the df dot string form. Need to give this here self, and we need to get this as optionals. No needs to pass this here. Save here. Now need to set here this format. Letters need to convert into like the ago. Times need to convert letters. Now need to give this here u object dot, need to call this here the created date dot string. Now need to set here the message view object dot message like this, and we need to write down here if user object dot base count more than 0, then display, otherwise not display to string. But here's now need to paste these here like these configurations are the configures, and we need to set here here brackets this value paste here. Now fix these errors and to configure this here. And one more things, need to give this here on tab event tab gestures. Give this here to select sv object dot set users user object like this. And now one more things, we need to configure this here the background. Maybe no needs background ns navigators escape labels to set this here. Now need to call this here support message view like this here, and need to give this here on methods is active. Here give this here the dollars vm dot show message like this. Give this the labels preview this creating here's, and for this click events perform here. Otherwise we need to convert here the button is good. You write down here button is good action label but here and to give this here svm dot select support users is equal to pass this object need to assign views on the click events. And one more thing, so we need to configure inside the setting UI, and we need to add this here one to write down here navigator link destinations support user view, and need to give this here the labels here to write down here supports like this. Creating here like this events need to clicking events need to give this years, and now need to go inside the message view, and we need to write down years. First of all, need this here, this share object, copy here, paste this here, remove here, and also need this here the error message. Let's copy here on appearance. Need to call this here driver app show message like this displaying here, and now to write down here svm dot share property here right here send events need to call this here the API. If need to check svm dot txt is empty, then to return these functions no need to execute next lines. Now need to call this here svm dot send message API need to call this here like here. Now need to configure here the is senders and receivers need to configure this here, set here the 0 and less than like svm dot need to calling this here message array like and dot count like this sets and to give this here the indexed. Now gets here first of all the m object here is equal to svm dot message array, and to get this here index of value like this. Now need to check this here the is senders need to check this here svm dot selected users dot id equal to m object dot not like this to wrong checks here map object dot sender id is equal to service call user of payload check here value per key, and to pass this here user id as integer with this here -1 like this. We need to identify here the senders or nots need to identify. Now need to give this here the message times need to display here sending here created dates dot string, and after need to displaying here the message object dot message like this. We need to calling this here this API like this set here configurations are the needs. Now need to run this app and to test here working or not need to test this here time. Now run these simulators and to go here. Now click on support and need to get this here the user related informations need to get this here. Now open this here and to load this here the previous message, and need to issue with this here text field placeholders need to later fix, but we need to send message need to check this here send here hi and to get this here hi. And now runs here the another emulators need to call this here pro 15 pro into run here. Minimize this code and two emulators run second emulators. Now need to go here again run this here, go here select here supports. Now go here supports get here the high message with the times need to get this here like this here. Then after so need to go here Now go here and to write down here the message. Need to write down here like this. To good send here, and now receive here the goods. Also need to send here this message. Need to 123 123 or like this send here, and also need to receive here like this. Need to real time here the working, but need to issue with this tax bills. Need to later fix, and also need to not update here the message later. Need to update here later fix. If you like this video, please give the thumbs up. If you're new user, so please subscribe my channels and press the notification bell icon. You can get every new video notifications and awesome content. If you have any questions, so please write down the comment sections. I will help you and sort out your issue. Everyone have a nice day. Goodbye and take care.